sell it to ya. Downtown punk gonna flog it to ya. Gangsta Al gonna flog you.
Welcome to the strangest booze ban in American history, where Logic went on vacation and came back in a bootlegged whiskey bottle. You've heard of flappers and speakeasies, but the truth is, Prohibition was less about the Roaring Twenties and more, what in the actual hell is going on? We're talking about a time when government literally poisoned its own people. Congress drank like frat boys during finals week, and grape companies sold do-it-yourself wine kits disguised as warnings. If that's not weird enough, just wait until you learn how NASCAR was born out of moonshine and how the Ku Klux Klan decided to become morally sober bigots. Spoiler, they were still the worst. So buckle up, grab your totally not medicinal whiskey, and prepare for 10 of the wildest, weirdest prohibition facts that will make you say, there's no way that's real. But oh, dear viewer. 1. The U.S. government poisoned alcohol. In what sounds like a deleted scene from a villain origin story, the U.S. government decided to poison industrial alcohol to stop people from drinking it. Not warn, not discourage, just full on add toxic chemicals and let Darwin sort it out. They threw in methyl alcohol, which does not, in fact, make you party harder. It causes blindness, seizures, and a not so cool death. Authorities knew this and kept doing it because apparently nothing says moral superiority like killing your own citizens. Estimates say over 10,000 people died, but hey, at least no one got drunk, right? Mission accomplished, America. High five to National Homicide by Policy. 2. Doctors prescribed whiskey like it was Tylenol. Just because alcohol was illegal didn't mean you couldn't get it. You just had to get sick. Like mysteriously anxious every Friday and recovering by Sunday night sick. Doctors handed out whiskey prescriptions like candy at a dentist's nightmare. You could get a bottle for anything. Stress, fatigue, stubbed toe, fear of sobriety. The medical system basically turned into a glorified liquor store with a waiting room. Pharmacies made a killing, especially Walgreens, which ballooned from 20 stores to over 500. Turns out, the best medicine wasn't laughter, it was bourbon. 3. The Navy had a boozy boat party. When the land ran dry, the sea figuratively said, "Hold my beer." Bootleggers turned decommissioned Navy ships into floating liquor depots, parked just outside U.S. waters. That's right, America's old war machines became party yachts. Rumrunners used little boats to ferry booze from these floating, Costco-sized bars back to thirsty citizens. The Coast Guard, legally landlocked by distance, could do nothing but stare and maybe weep into their empty flasks. These ships had better supply chains than most Walmarts. Who knew naval logistics would be so effective at supplying gin to jazz enthusiasts? 4. Grape bricks were wine's secret identity. Winemakers weren't allowed to make wine, so they sold grape bricks with a warning label so specific it basically screamed, "Do this to make wine." Instructions warned people not to add yeast and not to store in a cool, dark place, which is exactly what you do to make a fine basement Merlot. You'd have to be a complete idiot or sober to miss the hint. Naturally, Americans took the bait. Cellars across the nation turned into secret wineries faster than you can say forbidden fermentation. 5. Congress was secretly lit. While the rest of the country suffered, Congress said, "Cheers!" Members of the House and Senate kept their own private booze stashes and were some of the best paying booze customers around. famous bootlegger even said he loved working with congressmen because they paid up front and never snitched. That's right, your local elected officials were too busy doing shots to enforce the laws they passed. The People's House was more like the People's Frat House. Legislation by day, libation by night. 6. NASCAR was born from moonshine. In the South, bootleggers had to get creative to avoid getting caught. So they souped up their cars to outrun the police on twisty back roads. The cars were fast, agile, and definitely not street legal. When Prohibition ended, these drivers missed the adrenaline rush, so naturally, they started racing each other. Illicit whiskey delivery turned into competitive motorsport almost overnight. And just like that, NASCAR was born. America's favorite left-turn sport is basically the love child of liquor and engine grease. 7. Board games celebrated booze crime. Prohibition wasn't just a criminal enterprise. It was also a family-friendly game night. Board games like the Moonshine Express let kids pretend to be bootleggers, dodging cops and delivering liquor. Players could experience the thrill of criminal logistics without leaving the living room. It was Monopoly meets Breaking Bad, but somehow more wholesome. Sure, it was wildly inappropriate, but hey, it's not like anyone had internet yet. 8. Speakeasies use spy tactics. The best speakeasies didn't just have secret knocks. They had rotating password menus inside phone booths. Guests had to know the weekly phrase to get inside. These places updated their security protocols more than your IT department. One wrong word and you'd be sipping soda with the narcs. It was like a Bond movie directed by Bugs Bunny. Passwords, paranoia, and piano jazz. 9. The KKK weaponized sobriety. The Klan, yes. The Klan used Prohibition to act morally superior while still being the racist garbage they always were. They targeted immigrants, Catholics, and anyone with a last name ending in a vowel. They called themselves the protectors of purity, but purity looked a lot like violence and hypocrisy. Their booze-free crusade was just an excuse to bash people they already hated. It wasn't Prohibition that made them awful. It just gave them an excuse to wave it around. 10. Al Capone fed the poor. Chicago's king of crime wasn't just a bootlegger. He was also a PR genius. Al Capone opened a soup kitchen during the Great Depression to boost his image. While flooding the city with booze and bullets, he also fed thousands of hungry people with free meals. The newspapers ate it up, even if the cops didn't. He became a folk hero, proving that sometimes the villain throws better dinner parties than the mayor. The law was just a suggestion. So what did we learn, kids? When you make drinking illegal in a country obsessed with drinking, you don't get sobriety. You get chaos in a snazzy hat. The Prohibition era turned everyone into an amateur criminal. From pharmacists to politicians to grandma, with her just grape juice operation in the basement. It was wild. It was stupid. It was very, very American. Let us never forget, we banned booze and got NASCAR. That's not a law. That's a fever dream wrapped in a flask.